Hola y bienvenido, the Fray. Me llamo Derry. And thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule of watching dudes holding pillows, wearing no shirts, running Shaq Fu against a timer. Tonight, we honor the best and worst of the fighting game community in 2013 with the Horsehead Awards. The 14th annual Horsehead Award, the 27th annual Horsehead Awards. And here tonight to help us celebrate are some of the luminaries of the fighting game community. Introducing first, you can catch him at his Twitter at twitter.com/thebestabon. And you can also check out his newest project at fgcfilm.com, where he is creating a documentary about the fighting game community that's crowdsourced, it's crowdfunded via his Kickstarter. All the information about the project is at fgcfilm.com. Returning to the program, it's Esteban. How you doing?
Hey, Derry, what's up?
Not much. Also joining us tonight, returning from last week, I'm being told that Mike Ross still doesn't know who he is. You can catch him on Mondays at twitch.tv/iplaywinner, Super Desperation Radio, 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. They're broadcast earlier than we do because they're a bunch of old men. It's twitter.com/manchest. Hello, Gibby.
No one knows who I am anymore.
No,
I'm just that old and people forget who I am. Simple as that.
Speaking of Mike Ross, also returning from last week, relaunching the excellent adventures alongside his longtime partner Gutex at Daily Motion, which you can catch all the live action on Mondays at dailymotion.com/Gutex and Mike Ross. It's a live show that airs at 7 p.m. on Mondays. It's Mike Ross, twitter.com/that Mike Ross guy.
Yo, what's going on, man?
What's up? And then last but not least, the prodigal son returns. He doesn't have a project because he doesn't do anything. It's twitter.com/Magus1234.
What's going on, Derry?
What's new?
All right. Just marinating.
Getting nice and tender. All right. So we're gonna jump right into it. If you guys caught the show 2 weeks ago, then you were around for the nominees. Tonight we crowned the prestigious winners. And we sent
I think you forgot somebody, Derry.
Oh, did I?
that other guy on that one show.
Oh my god, I totally did.
I forgot. The show sucks that much you can't even announce me in this show.
Well, you catch him on Tuesdays. He's the other guy from the show that sucks. His partner is on our show all the time. But this is his first appearance on the Fray. Maybe that's why it didn't really occur to me to.
I knew there was a reason why I'm never on the show.
Yeah, well, it's twitter.com/Harrison SBA, one of the original Starbase Guardians. If you guys ever caught those streams, it's Harrison from Starbase. How you doing?
Good. Better now that I got introduced.
Sorry. All right, so rip. We're gonna go right into it. The show 2 weeks ago was the Horsehead Nomination Awards show. This show is the Horsehead. We crown the winners. And the way I'm gonna do it is I'm gonna read off. I'm gonna remind you guys of the nominees that we picked, and then I'm gonna go around the list here, and I'm gonna let each of the guys give me their choice from the nominees as to who they think should win, and then based on popular opinion and a bunch of points that don't really matter and don't add up, we're gonna choose a winner for each of these categories. Starting out first with Best Major Tournament. The nominees from 2 weeks ago were Final Round 6, CEO 2013, and SCR 2013. I'm going to go first to give me your choice from those three nominees.
Final round.
Final round. Any choice? Any particular reason why, or are you just kind of throwing a dart at a dartboard?
It was the best tournament that I watched. I really was planning on attending, but I couldn't make it. From just a stream standpoint, it was pretty well done. There was a lot of stuff going on that I enjoyed compared to watching most of the other tournaments I saw. And tournaments I actually attended to because I was working.
All right. Final round 6, CEO 2013, SCR 2013. Your choice, Mike Ross.
I'm going to have to give it to CEO for the all-around experience. Yeah, for the all-around experience, just because of the the pool parties is always pretty cool just to hang out at. Also, they tried to expand by adding the kind of showcase matches before the tournament. So it was just good to be at, and I think the matches were good to watch. So I got to give it to CEO.
And also, they constructed an entire steel cage just for the purpose of having you rip it down. So, I mean, that's
That
nice.
is, yeah, I totally forgot about that. I blacked out during that moment. So that too.
Hulk smash moment. Final round 16. I keep saying 16. Or CEO 2013 and SDR 2013. Harrison, your choice.
Wow, you remembered me this time. I'd have to go with CEO, just because out of all the majors I watched that more than any other one this year by far. I thought just watching it, I had way more fun than in any other major.
And Magus, your choice.
I have to agree with Harrison. I feel like CEO is still one of those only tournaments that's trying to bring something new every year. Whereas, no offense to the other tournaments, they're great, and they've been around doing their thing, but they're just kind of doing the same thing. CEO has been kind of innovative, and at least he tries to do some crazy shit. So I give it to CEO.
Yeah, we had Alex on the program once to talk about his work with CEO, and I got to say that he never fails to impress me with how far he's willing to go to look for the next thing to add to his not just, he runs a whole bunch of events, not just CEO. He runs a bunch of locals, but CEO is obviously his big baby. And for all of his events, but especially for CEO, he goes above and beyond and really focuses not just on the overall production, but also on little details to make the overall production that much better, like having a boxing ring or having a steel cage or whatever. So I'm going to have to agree with most of the panel and give it Best Major Tournament of the Year award to CEO 2013.
Did you ask Escobar? I feel like you forgot.
I don't care. SEO get the vote.
Oh, man.
Rip. And then best non-major tournament, the nominees from 2 weeks ago showed Capcom Cup World Finals, Dueling the KOF, 202 Furious, and the Capcom Cup Japan qualifier. I'll go first to Esteban with his vote, and I promise you your vote will be weighted this time.
Oh, so I'll actually I'll be counted this time.
Yes.
I'm going to go with Capcom Cup. Just because I think it was really good to watch. We had, the rise of Yipes with his amazing comebacks and just kind of destroying Filipino champ, making it to, he got second, I believe, against Chris G, which is really cool to watch. I got to see some really high caliber play in AE with Haitani and Sako, people who aren't technically always represented in brackets, and they just put on a really good show. And overall, it was just really good. It was solid. It was really well produced. Just a great thing to watch, and everybody, even non-fighting game players, really liked watching it. So I hope there's more to that in the coming years to come.
All right. So the nominees for best non-major tournament of the year were Capcom Cup Finals, Dueling the KOF, 202 Furious, and Capcom Cup's Japan qualifier, going to Gibby with his choice.
Initially went with Dueling the KOF. I'm going to switch it to 202 Furious. It was actually really fun watching it. It took me back to the old days. And seeing a bunch of the older guys show up that I haven't seen in 5-6 years just really sold it for me. And they had Alpha 2. Come on. You can't go wrong with Alpha 2.
Harrison, your choice for best non-major tournament.
If I was here last week, I'd pick something different, but I guess I'm going to have to hold that. I'm going to have to go with the Capcom Cup Tokyo Game Show.
Well, just for S's and G's, let's hear your choice. What you would have picked if you were here last week?
I was gonna pick Lost in Space: The Final Frontier.
Ah, you.
Just because it was the end of an era, man, for NorCal, and it was a huge tournament, and everybody had fun. So
the end of Hella Bar Base.
Yeah, it was definitely a good way to end it.
Little known fact about Starbase is that no matter where you live in the continental United States of America, if you get your car and you start driving to Starbase, it takes literally 2 hours and 5 minutes to get there, no matter where you live.
That's what everybody says.
Mike Ross, your choice for best non-major tournament.
Yeah, I too am kind of on the fence and switching my original pick, and I have to go with the Capcom Cup World Finals because of the matches with Yipes and Filipino Champ, and watching Sako just run through the entire bracket. I got to give it to that. Best matches all around.
Magus, your vote?
Yep, I feel like I've been waiting so long for Sako to be Sako, then every tournament I watch him play in, he just gets bopped by somebody, and it's just such a letdown. But, and even with Yipes, it was like, you're just waiting for these guys to, like, actually do something, and they really showed their A game at Capcom Cup World Finals. And not just that, that's, like, the epitome of what I want to see in future events is kind of these, like, a lot of build-up, good production, working with the developers and stuff. So it was just it was a really cool event.
I'm kind of tempted to cast my vote sentimentally for Too Old, Too Furious. Although I suppose it's not entirely sentiment. Speaking in a practical way, I was really impressed with the production overall. I was impressed with how they managed to lure out a bunch of guys who have probably been stored away in mothballs for the last 8 years or so. They had a bunch of games that, people still care about these games and they still play them. And especially there's little pockets of places like, the Midwest is infamous for Vampire Savior, but there are little pockets of these communities everywhere. And it was really nice to see a well-represented event that gave a chance for these players to come out of the woodwork and show what they had. But I think that my vote definitely has to go to Capcom Cup as well. Like I said, on the nomination show, I watched the entire thing start to finish from front row. Sakao was actually my pick. A lot of people asked me who I liked. I said I liked Sakao. Although Yipes was a complete surprise to me. A pleasant surprise, but a surprise. But yeah, just start to finish. I even got a little excited watching a couple of matches in Street Fighter Cross Tekken. I'm not going to lie. So it was a good event. Best international event category. This is pretty self-explanatory. The nominees were Dueling the KOF again, DreamHack winner 2013, the Asia qualifier in Singapore for Capcom Cup, Shadowloo Showdown, and Canada Cup. I'm going to go first to Harrison.
Usually a safe bet is Shadowloo, but I think this year it probably have to go to Canada Cup.
Why do you think Canada Cup this year?
He just flew out all those players, and every match was great. This year I just didn't feel like Shadowloo Showdown had it like it had it last year.
Man. But then he ended up basically breaking his own bank in the process. He threw a hell of a bet.
I know. That's why he's got to get something out of this, right? So
yeah,
maybe he'll get a Horsehead
award. Exactly. You might be on the streets in a couple of months, but here's a Horsehead award to keep you warm late at night. Mike Ross, your vote, best international event.
I got to go with consistency right now with Shadowloo Showdown. They always they're like forcing me to watch their streams when they're playing Street Fighter because they always get the high caliber international players there. I know Canada Cup does that as well, but it's just, I don't know, it's something about the Shadowloo presentation that I really do like too. So I give it to them.
You would think that more European players would come to American tournaments, especially East Coast tournaments versus the Australian tournament. But for some reason, Shadowloo always manages to attract a lot of the top tier European talent, and we don't really see that a lot over here. So
exactly,
that's a good choice. Esteban, your choice for best international event.
My choice would have to be DreamHack. It was just a well-produced event. You had great commentary, great matches. You had that match with that Gandhi player, and you also had Daigo doing like 15 uppercuts in a row to Gamer B, and that was like, that may come up later for like moment of the year or something like that, but that was just a really awesome event, and I really enjoyed watching it.
I actually enjoyed watching it as well. I was super hype at home watching Daigo land uppercut after uppercut after uppercut. Give me your choice, best international event.
The KOF.
KOF?
It's still like near and dear to me. A lot of classic players showed up for it, and a bunch of new people that no one has ever heard of, like making it into top 8 in like King of Fighters '98, which for years has been consistently like the same 10 or 15 guys taking top 8 in.
Last but not least, Magus 1234, your choice best international event.
Yeah, DreamHack it gets my award. James did a great job streaming it, and I think as the years go by, just seeing Daigo in tournaments is always like something. It's just, I don't know. It never loses that wowness to me. You know, I still remember the first time I got to see him live playing in 2004, and it's always just like a cool treat to watch him play because I've always been a fanboy ever since. So yeah, DreamHack.
I gotta say, I really enjoyed the action at Canada Cup, especially the Street Fighter action. But my vote would also go to DreamHack because of, well, primarily because of Daigo. I'm also an unabashed Daigo fanboy. I feel like there's Seth Killian has gone on the record several times as saying, he actually said this to me at Capcom Cup, like, if you're not a Daigo fanboy, like, what are you doing? Like, what's wrong with you? Like, so I guess we're gonna give it to DreamHack 2013 Winter Edition, best international event of the year. Let's change gears and let's go to a brown horsey. Let's go to the most washed up player award. These are always fun. There's always like 2 or 3 people on the panel that are just like, oh god, we gotta do this, and then a couple of other people on the panel are super into it. But anyway, the nominees for most washed up player of the year: Fnatic, Infiltration, and the online Street Fighter Cross Tekken community were the nominees for the most washed up player, or I suppose players of the year. I'm going to throw it first to Gibby. Your pick of those 3 most washed up player.
Last week I went with, the other week I went with Fnatic. I'm going to stick with that because, I don't know, I was looking at his tournament placings just for EVO past 3 years. The first year Marvel was there, he actually placed 9th. And I couldn't figure out what he placed the past 2 years. I just couldn't find it. I heard he got top 32 2 years ago, and this past year he supposedly didn't make it out of pools. I'm not too sure what he did, but he's been pretty quiet since he picked up League of Legends. This is hard not to go with him.
Esteban, your choice.
I'm actually going to go with the online Street Fighter Cross Tekken community. Like, not to fire off shots, but like they were really hyped up, especially when the update came out for the game, and like didn't really place that well. I mean, there was Seth Lololol, but besides that, they were hardly represented in any tournaments whatsoever. So I got to give it to them.
I don't even know if I really consider Seth a online player anymore. He's placed pretty well at a bunch of majors now, so I mean, I don't really think of him. But yeah, I suppose he is, but that's definitely a good choice for the entire category. Mike Ross, your choice, most washed up.
Man, I hate to use that term. I want to call it I want to say I'm most disappointed. I'm so disappointed.
No, he's disappointed. He's a friend of yours. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm so disappointed in Fnatic, man, because like, when you used to see his name in a Marvel tournament, he would be a threat. Anything could happen. You would get excited, even if he was going to play Chris G, because you're thinking, dang, this guy might do it. He might have something, but it's not that anymore. So I got to give him the award, man.
That's tough. That's hard to hear.
It is.
Harrison.
Man, it's a tough choice. I don't know why Infiltration is on this list. I mean, he just won Capcom Cup. You would, Derry. I think I'm going to have to go with the Street Fighter Cross Tekken community. The online Street Fighter Cross Tekken community. Just because, I mean, does it exist really? Like, there was 3 people at Capcom Cup, and that was kind of it. Although tournament organizers really don't give the game light anymore, so I don't know. I think the game
that's a really good point. That's a really good point. Not to be that dude to be like, actually, but it's hard to build a community for yourself beyond the internet when no one really seems to be interested in giving your game a shot. Counterpoint to that might be that if the game wasn't ass, then more tournament organizers would be willing to give it a shot. But if you think the game is ass, which some do.
Yeah, it's ass.
Magus, your choice for most
I'm definitely going to go with Fnatic, and not because of how he's doing in tournaments, but because when they announced the Nemo money match, like, people, were like, "Oh, Fnatic gets magical powers in money matches," and I was like, "I agree." You know, like I'll put money on Fnatic, even though I didn't think he was as good as Nemo. Like when it happened, and then he just got smoked. Like he didn't even have a shot. So, yeah, that's showing me that he's definitely washed ashore.
I mean, like it's fairly obvious. I mean, when I saw the category on the list, I thought it was fairly obvious, and pretty much everybody nominated who I expected them to nominate. It's tough to stay competitive when you spend most of your time doing things that are not really related to the game. But yeah, I mean, Fnatic on all levels has kind of fallen off this year. Not just competitively, but a bunch of drama in the community, and then on top of that, like Magus just referenced, being placed into your home turf, into the area where you got the most recognition, the area where you're probably the strongest, and just having your soul stolen in front of a Twitter audience that's just salivating to see you get destroyed. That's a tough one. So I think most washed up this year, Fnatic, and hopefully he keeps going. Last year we gave this award to Viscant. He's still around. I think he did a little better this year. So best
out of the dryer this year.
What's up?
Saying Fnatic or Viscant's probably out of the dryer this year.
Oh, God. Breakout player of the year. Breakout player of the year. The nominees were Cloud 805, Senior Ass Taxi, Smug, Piezone Smug, and Nemo. Nemo. Give me your choice. Breakout of the year.
This is my problem with this. Nemo has been around for a while. I would like to go with him, but since he's been around, he's been known, I can't really call him a breakout player.
He is, just for the record, he is one of the Japanese gods of Street Fighter. I'm just throwing that out there.
I mean, he came in second place at SBO in like 2010, so I mean, or 2011, I forget.
Yeah, but what you're forgetting is these Marvel 3 players have never heard of his name in their lives.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. And I fully agree with the reasoning for putting him on the list. But I also
like breakout Marvel performance, sure, but I mean that's like saying Justin's having a breakout performance one year when a new game comes out or something.
Yeah, but Justin was good at. Yeah, one could argue that Nemo has consistently disappointed in Marvel. This was the first year where he actually did well in that game because he went to Evo and got 0-2'd last year or close to it.
That was Evo. No, I mean he didn't go 0-2. He just lost to like Paradigm and some other SoCal player. I mean, he just lost to some decent players.
I mean,
we're talking about how he was going to win the tournament.
Mike almost beat him too. I watched that match. Yeah.
No, obviously, after that match he had with me, he decided to go in the lab and step it up. So that's why he's
yeah. He's SoCal proof now.
Mike Ross is the perennial fighting game fluffer. Gibby, I'm sorry to interrupt you. Your choice, my friend.
Yeah, I went with what was his name? Senior Taxi last week. I'm the one who nominated him, just because everyone couldn't shut up about the guy. But I'm just gonna go with Cloud.
Cloud.
He actually did things and performed really well over one guy who had like one good performance for the most part.
Harrison, your choice for breakout player of the year.
I'm gonna have to go with Cien. That's breakout player.
That's
because totally, he was nowhere in 2012, and then he kind of just came and started dominating everybody in Street Fighter. And I feel like until you play him, you're just not going to appreciate how good he is.
Mike Ross, your choice, breakout player of the year.
If I were to look at this list, Chris's favorite thing, the list, but I'd have to say that in terms of skill, I really want to give it to Cloud 805. But thinking of it in terms of like, I think more people are aware of who Gandhi is than Cloud 805 now.
Wow. So Gandhi?
Dude, the Street Fighter god Gandhi? That man is a household name. Everybody knows who Gandhi is now.
Esteban, your choice, breakout player of the year.
I'm gonna actually go with Smug, just because he may not be like the most well-known player, but he's done incredibly consistent on the East Coast with a character that's not necessarily the greatest, and
One of the worst, bottom three.
Yeah,
I'd say
he's like one of the
Dudley's
worst
bottom
characters.
three.
Bottom
But
three for sure.
but he does consistently well. He does really well in money matches. He does really well in sets. You see all the like the pie sets that Arturo streams on the weekends. He does really well. He just bodies people, and he's just a really strong player. And I think he's only going to get better over time.
Magus, your choice, breakout of the year.
Yeah, I agree with Esteban. And it's not always about like coming out and winning tournaments and stuff like that. It's just kind of like breakthrough performance, you know. And I just see a guy putting in the time and it's showing, you know. And he's starting to beat really good, solid players in the East Coast, and hopefully, you know, he has an opportunity to be able to travel because I think he can gain a lot from that too.
So with my vote and the choice, Senor Taxi, I want to just say for the record that I've been impressed with Senor Taxi beyond just NCR last year, beyond him fighting Chris G. He's gotten better since he beat Chris. It was like Chris's, you know, him beating Chris was kind of a little bump in the right direction for him. Here was a guy who was kind of just like mindfielding around top 16 at Wednesday night fights. And then he started, you know, top fours. He won one. So I mean, you can make the case he beat Chris G at a major in front of a huge audience in dramatic fashion, and then got better. But I don't think his improvement was anywhere near as strong as Cloud A05, who has turned into not just one of the most improved players in Street Fighter right now, but one of the best players in the world right now. But I also am
Marvel.
I'm sorry, Marvel. But my vote is also going to go with Smug. I think that Smug. I agree with what Magus said about breakout performances or being what really matter, and I think that Smug. It's hard to get excited about Street Fighter sometimes because the game is getting a little bit long in the tooth. I know that to some fighting game players, saying that a game is coming up on its 6th year is old is kind of laughable, considering that people still play games from 15 and 20 years ago. But you know, it's been around for 6 years. It's not a lot new to see. But here you have a guy who's playing a character that not a lot of people play. He's playing him at a master level. He's doing a lot of exciting things with him. He plays him in a very exciting style. And he's been very successful. And he's body checked up who's who list of East Coast players at this point. So I'm definitely going to give Breakout Player of the Year of 2013 to Smug.
I still want him to perform at a major.
We'll see. That's
That's
what
what
I
I'm
want
saying. Like, but also because like Marvel, it's easy to kind of have a breakout performance in that game just because of its nature. But like to come into like Street Fighter and do something is really hard now. And now that's why I kind of want to see him actually get tested outside of his comfort zone before, you know, I really like reserve my judgment for him. Because honestly, Dudley sucks. Like, and if he
want to
if
see
he fights
him
like
next
Shoto or
next
something,
year.
like oof.
All right, best troll of the year. This is the award that goes to the joke, the account, the ongoing running gag that had everybody enjoying themselves for the better part of 2013. The nominees from 2 weeks ago were twitter.com/MikeRussPlus, which I think is awesome, Twitch Unsupport, and FGCNN. I'm going to send it first to Harrison for your choice of best troll of the year.
I think it's gonna be Mike Russ Plus, please, however you pronounce it. Plus, I don't personally follow the account, but I do follow Mike Ross, and I think he retweets all of them, if not the gems of that account. And I feel like the person who makes it really does put a lot of effort into making those tweets, so I really appreciate it.
Well,
especially when he talks about Morgan and Marvel, it makes me laugh.
You just follow Mike Ross, and he filters out the not so good ones from the good ones and retweets the good ones, and you got the full Mike Ross Plus experience.
Exactly.
Speaking of Mike Ross, your choice for best troll.
I have to give it to Icarus, please, because I'm slowly starting to narrow down who I think it is, and I actually believe it's got to be one of my really close friends. It has to be.
It always is.
I would hope that it is, because honestly, if it's like a random dude, it's kind of flattering, but it's kind of creepy too.
It's creepy. Yeah, it would be creepy, but it's my mission to find out by Evo. but it's just it keeps me up at night trying to figure out who it is. So I got to give it to that.
I would be up at night worried about some stranger thinking about me that much. Esteban, your choice, best troll.
So I was originally going to go with Twitch unsupport because I'm pretty sure for the majority of last year I thought it was the real Twitch support Twitter, and that
Pack
just
it up.
has to be applauded. But I'm going to go with FGCNN just because of it's very timely. They always touch on the most recent subjects, and the site is well built so far that it has like fake ads and stuff on the side. Like it's just a complete. There was a lot of thought put into it, and the articles are great. They're very funny. They touch on relevant subjects, and I just think it's a really good troll.
Give me your choice, best troll.
And Twitch on support. But I'm going to go with Twitch on support just because they've been doing it for the entire year, and people have just argued with the account and yelled at the account, talked shit to the account, everything. It's just funny watching people complain and just getting some like slack-jawed yokel type response from them.
Magus?
Yeah, sometimes I wonder what the difference between Twitch support and unsupport is. But I'm gonna give it to FGCNN. It's been the king troll lately, and I'm just interested to see if they keep doing it. So I'll give it to them. But Twitch unsupport's been around for a while, and it always gets me.
It's a tough race. It's a tough call. These three coming neck and neck, but the Horsehead for 2013's best troll, I'm going to give it to FGCNN just because not only, like Esteban said, it's really well made. It's really well put together. They put a lot of thought in every element of it. There's the fake ads, which, by the way, I don't know if anybody saw Filipino champ falling for one of the fake ads and tweeting to CJ Showstopper about the sea vapor.
Oh my god!
Yo, dog, they got a sea viper e-cig now, and he's like tweeting this stuff out to CJ and falling for it. And that's part of the reason why I would say FGCNN was the best troll, because they were so well put together. That was not the only instance of people falling for something on FGCNN as if it was true this year. They were obviously tied up in that whole Killer Instinct thing. So I mean, they've kind of turned into the Onion / Daily Show of the fighting game community in a very short amount of time. We'll see where these guys are next year, but it's definitely been Twitch unsupport though. I mean, like those guys, I kind of feel bad not giving it to them, but whatever.
So many people think that is the support site. Like people still think it when they're posting and stuff to them. It's just really funny.
All right, best moment of the year. The nominees from 2 weeks ago were Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3, Justin Wong vs. Chris G, EVO 2013 Losers Finals. Super Smash Bros. Melee at EVO, and Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3, Yipes Performance at Capcom Cup. I'm going to throw it over to Mike Ross first for your choice from those three.
I have to give it to Justin Wong versus Chris G. It was, without question, one of the greatest moments I've ever witnessed in terms of fighting games. Brought me back to that reality, that emotional level. Me and Flo were sitting next to each other watching that. And I remember Flo, after Justin was like about to win, Flo couldn't take it. He just had to leave. It was too much for him. That was crazy.
Harrison, your choice.
I guess I'm going to go with Yipes at Capcom Cup, just because that was the last thing I was expecting. And honestly, after he beat F Champ, I was, in my mind, I thought 100% he was going to win, but he kind of failed me at that. But I'm still going to have to give it to him because he was the only person there. I thought that everybody thought, yeah, he's kind of done. He's going to go 0-2, and he surprised everybody.
Esteban, your choice. Best moment, 2013.
I have to agree with Harrison. I think Yipes at Capcom Cup was a crazy moment. Kind of along the same lines where a lot of people weren't giving Yipes a lot of credit. They really thought he was going to go 0-2. And he just came in and he just started blowing everybody up. And he did really well. And it was really exciting to watch. And even people who don't watch fighting games like my girlfriend was watching, but she knows who Yipes is, and she was watching him play, and she's like getting really excited, and she thought this is really awesome. So it brought a lot of people who didn't play fighting games or weren't really paying attention to the scene over the year, and it brought them even closer into the moment and made that tournament go, well, now anything can happen. And I thought that was really exciting.
Gibby, your choice?
Just because Smash has always had a bad rep in the fighting game scene for well over a decade now, and it comes to Evo for the first year, and just it blew up like crazy. Everyone who bashed, not everyone, the majority of people who bashed it were sitting watching and enjoying it, and cheering along with everyone. And it's just everything that led up to the tournament, them donating, them actually showing up to their tournament, doing everything. It was a really big deal in my opinion. I know it wasn't one moment altogether, but just collectively and what it led up to at Evo was great.
Magus, your choice.
Yeah, I mean, I got the pleasure of commentating both the Yipes' match and the Justin versus Christie, but one of the things is what Justin did, in his match versus Christie, you kind of come to expect from him. The thing with Yipes was it was really not out of left field, but just at that moment, people weren't expecting it. We were kind of all sitting back like, all right, Marvel might be interesting, it might not, but can't wait to see all these like crazy international matches in Street Fighter. But then like he really just performed, like he came through and it was crazy. So I got to give it to Yipes.
It was a year of a lot of good moments. This was the first 600 person plus registration tournament for Smash Brothers in the history of Melee, the biggest Melee tournament of all time. That tournament has reinvigorated Melee to the point where I was reading some statistics from Glenn DeGod at Get Your Tournament today, who was talking about how before Evo they've never had a 600 plus person tournament, and this year they're looking on schedule to have 4. And these are non-Evo tournaments. They're just tournaments, and they've got 600 plus players signed up for 4 of them this year so far, since Evo. So, I mean, that's huge. And then with Justin fighting Chris, you had probably, I would say, the most emotional match of the entire year. I unfortunately had some last minute things come up and couldn't make it to Evo this year. But I was at home watching the stream and was literally screaming at my TV watching this. And I don't really react to streams like that at all. And even I was like practically standing on my chair screaming at my screen watching this match. Was insane. But I'm also going to have to agree with the panel and say that the best moment of the year was Yipes' overall performance at Capcom Cup. Like we said earlier, I don't think anybody expected Yipes to even win a match. When Yipes went up to play Champ, I said to Ultra David that I expected him to go 0-3 against Champ. No offense to Yipes. I think a lot of people did. Champ right now is one of the top 3 Marvel players in the world, and a lot of people look at Yipes and they say, oh, he's been playing a lot of Call of Duty. He hasn't really performed up to the expectations, and he beat not just Champ, but a bunch of good players, and he got second place. And everybody loves him. So, best moment 2013 Horsehead Award, Yipes at Capcom Cup and Marvel 3. All right, moving along, we got our Pack It Up Award. This is the other brown Horsehead Award, and this one goes to the thing, the entity, the game, the meme, the joke, the person, whatever that you just want to see gone from the fighting game community in 2014. You had enough of it in 2013, and you want it gone, and hopefully it will be. The nominees from 2 weeks ago were Injustice, RIP, Salty Bet, the partnership between Empire Arcadia and VXG, bad crowdfunding drives, which is funny because when we nominated the bad Kickstarters and stuff, we actually talked about Esteban's project, FGC Film, and how it was a perfect example of a good project, but there were a shit ton of shady ass bad Kickstarters last year, which also Dive Kick, by the way, that's a crowdfunded game. There's another example. And then shady tournament organizers, which kind of goes back to EMP and VXG, but whatever. All right, so those are the nominees. Going first to Harrison.
Hey, well, first of all, I mean, let's face it, we can put all of these on a straw and pull from straws and still be glad that one of these are gone. But I think that, I mean, I'm going to give it to somebody who's not on the list, and I'm going to say Flash Metroid.
Yo, damn!
So, yeah.
Wow.
I was
Go
going to
ahead,
give him,
continue.
yeah, I was going to give him most washed up, but
Well, in order to wash up, you would have to be out at sea to begin with, and I think everybody.
yeah, exactly.
Flash
exactly.
Metroid is
That's
firmly
what
on the beach the entire
he was
time.
already washed up. Now he just
Exactly.
needs to pack it up.
Damn. Hashtag got him, dude. That's a haunt special right there. All
It's
right,
cold-blooded.
Mike Ross, your choice for Pack It Up Award.
Oh man, yeah, he said it best. But I before I was saying get rid of these like bad TOs or whatever, but I don't. Man, there's so many things I want to get rid of, but I can't just choose one. But if I just got to go with the bad crowdfunding drives because ever since you guys mentioned it, I have been like laughing non-stop at the Naraya. Like this, it has 6 days left. He is at $750. He's got to raise 100,000. Like we need to help him. I do not
Get that
want to see
man
this
90K.
project- Yeah, I do not want to see this project fail. I will personally be upset.
Like, how's he gonna afford to fly all those players out to these glamorous parties on $750? It's not a lot of money.
Yeah, I got to give it to that then.
Oh man, Esteban, your choice for Pack It Up.
I also got to give it to bad Kickstarters and bad crowdfunding, mostly because when doing my Kickstarter, I put like 3 or 4 months into planning and like trying to figure everything out and asking for as little money as possible just so I can get the project going. And then I put it out, and then you have like stuff like the Naraya stuff come out where it's like charging an obscene amount of money with no plan, no planning. Like we're gonna fly all these people out to extravagant parties, and then like people who are doing other projects who are like trying to devote themselves to these projects they put together just kind of are already looked at as like, oh, you're just begging for money and you're really not going to make anything and you're just going to disappear after you get all the money and not really return your reward. So I really think it just turns a really bad light on anybody else trying to make a project who's really, really devoted to making a project, and just really makes the whole scene looks bad as a whole.
Speaking as some friends and I are working on a project that's in the planning phases right now, and the biggest thing we're working toward is to have the project constructed well enough to go to Kickstarter. And it's kind of funny that these days you have all these projects where, in order just to make a Kickstarter offering that's worth everybody's time and worth people's money, you have a lot of work to do just to get to that point. And people don't realize that some of the successful Kickstarter campaigns, the people who are the most successful with these things, they tend to have put in a lot of work before they even started asking for money. Like, Keats was taking Dive Kick and its controllers around to tournaments before he ever posted that Kickstarter. And, then you have situations like this Naraya thing, not to put Ryan on blast, but where it's like just comes out of left field, and it's a nebulous concept. It's not really laid out, and it's no real work being presented, and it's so, it's tough. But Gibby, your choice. Pack it up.
Yeah, bad Kickstarters. Crowdfunding.
Yo, this is not going how I thought it would. But continue.
Yeah, like you bring up what Keats did. Keats did everything prior to the Kickstarter. He just took his game around for fun, and then once he started the Kickstarter, he pushed even harder. And I remember he made the goal, but I believe he refunded everyone when Iron Galaxy picked up the game. Can't remember, but he did everything right with Dive Kick in terms of how the Kickstarter went. And then you have this thing that Ryan's doing. Just reading it, it's like, really, how is 100K going to go to all of this? Like, it's just extremely poor planning, and it just seems like he doesn't know what he's doing with all this. There's just nothing. He has no business plan. Simple as that.
Magus, your choice. Most washed up.
I'm gonna go on this partnership of Arcadia and VXG, but I'm just going to kind of branch that out a little and meld it into the ecosystem that is Shady TOs, Diva top players, and people like Triforce just being talking heads. Like, that is just so toxic, and it just gives us a terrible name in the FGC, where this trifecta of kind of annoyance and loudmouths are all like, you have shady TOs that might be siphoning money, maybe not, I have no clue, but then you have Diva top players pointing at them and asking for more money. It's like, dude, get over it. There's no fucking money around here, dude. You know?
Mm-hmm.
And it's just crazy to me that it becomes like an argument talk point that shouldn't even exist. You know, we should be concentrating on making things bigger, not trying to like stuff our pockets with, you know, a couple grand here and there. That's not going to make an effing difference in the long run. And people just are so narrow-minded and so worried about getting their own little slice of the pie that they forget about the bigger things and kind of lose sight of everything. So that
I'm kind of on the same page with Mike. I really didn't notice how a lot of these bad crowdfunding drives until Martin went on his little rampage with Naraya a couple weeks ago and brought it to my attention. And then ever since then, I cannot unsee it. It's everywhere. But I'm actually gonna go ahead and give the Horsehead to Shady TOs and the EMP/VXG type behavior as well. Only because, you know, if Reinhardt runs a Kickstarter and he's trying to raise $100,000 for a nothing concept and seven people donate $750, the only people that got really burned were those 7 people. And I think that depending on the website, you get the money refunded anyway. So nobody really got burned. But I mean, things like the beach, like that does real damage. And you would think that after almost 6 years now of the mainstream fighting game community coming back into the limelight after the Dark Ages, that this sort of thing would have filtered out, but it's there, and one has to look at it and say that it's probably a primary reason why we have been stuck and stagnated for so long at this sort of glass ceiling level, where we attract 30,000 viewers to our streams. You know, we have 500 to 600 entrants for a major, and we have, you know, however many thousand at Evo. We're just kind of stuck in this space, and part of the reason is because you have a community of guys who love the games, and absolutely nobody else is seemingly interested. You know, everybody in the entire world is watching a bunch of dudes, you know, play glitched versions of Donkey Kong Country right now on the edge of their seat. They can't talk about anything else. Like, holy shit, this guy's playing Kirby. It's the best thing I've ever seen in my life. But
yeah,
you know,
and that's because they're positive, you know,
right.
and it's they're not like toxic and all pointing fingers at each other and stuff. Like, you know, it's almost a joke when you ask non in the know people about FGC, and all they could think about, you know, outside of maybe like Evo moments, is kind of the trashy kind of gossipy stuff that comes out of us, you know, and that's just sucks. That's not a good thing to be known for, you know. Like, we need less of that. Right.
And what's funny to me is, like, you had Mike Watts was talking on his blog about FGCNN, and he was talking about how we don't need websites like FGCNN because it creates and perpetuates a TMZ-like culture. But to me, part of the brilliance of FGCNN is just because it's lampooning this TMZ culture that's developed in the fighting game community, where we have these people like Triforce, who's basically the Paris Hilton of the fighting game community, who exists on any publicity is good publicity. And, you know, he and others of his ilk, the John Nelsons and the, you know, the two big shucksters, they got to go. And if they're not going to go, this is the level we're going to stay at forever. This is it. And in fact, we'll probably go down from here, because nobody's going to sit around and watch the game's 6 years old. I mean, like, that's the flagship game of our community, and nobody's going to sit around and watch the game, you know, in 4 years if we don't attract viewers now. Like, they got to go. So yeah, definitely easy choice for me anyway. Moving on into a more positive vein, less preachy. Moving on to the match of the year. Horsehead for Match of the Year 2013. This was a hotly contested nominated category 2 weeks ago. We got a lot of nominees, and the choices are Gandhi versus the NeoGaf fighting game community. It makes me crack up. Gandhi versus NeoGaf. King of Fighters 13, more seriously. King of Fighters 13, Reynald versus Wu, EVO 2013 Grand Finals. Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3, Justin Wong vs. Chris G, EVO 2013 Losers Finals. Super Street Fighter 4 Arcade Edition, Sanford Kelly vs. Aquasilk, PR Balrog, and Justin Wong at the NEC Championship Exhibition in 2013. And finally, Super Street Fighter 4 Arcade Edition, Gandhi vs. FSP at DreamHack 2013. First, I'm going to go over to Gibby with your choice for Match of the Year. Yeah, I read it anyway. I don't care.
Oh, yeah, I accidentally clicked off mute. But I'm gonna stick with Reynolds versus Wu. Just, I mean, it was Evo Grand Finals. Everyone in the room went nuts. Reynolds came back 6-0 from, I think, having what 20-30% life left from Wu actually taking the tournament. And I mean, just every match, the crowd kept getting louder, and Reynolds just broke Wu. Simple as that. Like, you see him physically just lose it, and even at the end, he threw his stick aside, and he did it for America. I mean, come on.
He did it for America. That is true. When he did that, like, seriously, I saw the ghost of my great-grandfather who fought in World War II descend down from the ceiling and tell me how proud he was of Ray.
Wow.
Mike Ross, your choice for Match of the Year.
Match of the Year, man, still goes to Justin Wong and Chris G, because I think, up until that point, everybody knows Justin is a great Marvel player, but I think it was safe to say people agree that he was not on Chris G's level. Chris G hadn't not lost anything, I think, throughout the entire year of 2013. And if he did, maybe he got second at worst. But that dude was just terrorizing. And to see Justin clutch it out with the team that he was using, not really lambing it out or any boring play style, that was amazing. That was amazing. That was David versus Goliath right there.
Harrison, your choice for Match of the Year.
How can you not pick Gandhi versus FSP? I
mean,
seriously, that is the reason why I watch Street Fighter reason why most people watch Street Fighter is for blow-ups. And that's one of the biggest blow-ups of the year. You have this guy who you can tell is good and a solid player, just getting destroyed by this guy who is there to have fun. And just the commentary, the quality of the stream, everything just made for this great match. It just reminds me of when Derry and Andrew are at Starbase and, somebody was kind of good getting blown up by somebody bad, and just, Derry and Andrew just going in on the guy who's good getting blown up by somebody who's terrible. And
that has happened on several occasions.
That's every Street Fighter tournament player's fear come to life.
It is. To me, hands down, best match of the year.
Esteban, choice for best match of the year.
I'm going to go with Reynolds versus Wu, just because I think that was one of the most craziest matches at EVO. Reynolds was just kind of, and I don't even know KOF that well, and I just thought it was really exciting. But seeing him, because KOF is known as an internationals game. It's either the Mexicans or the Koreans or somebody else other than America destroying us in that game, and then Reynolds shows up, tears through that top 8, and then beats Wu. Not only in the game, but also mentally to the point where he's going to throw his stick off the side of the stage. You can't get a better match than that.
Magus, your choice for best match of the year.
I still think, and I agree with Mike, that Justin versus Chris was match of the year. It's still fresh in my head, and it was just really emotional match and crazy, and it was fun to watch. But there's definitely a soft spot for me with the call out segment that he had at what was it, Northeast Championship, and it was just one of those moments, I love Sanford, man, and he could say some off the wall things, but I think his heart's in the right place, and he really loves Street Fighter, and he loves fighting games, and I just I like that he tries to pump up his scene, and he tries to light a fire under their ass, and he notices when they're slacking, so he has to do it himself. So he just called out everybody in the room who was the best and tried to beat him. So I thought that was really cool. But I'll give it to Justin versus Chris. That was match of the year to me.
I have a very short handful of people who are, anytime I hear a story about those guys, I'm listening to it. I know I'm going to enjoy the story. I think at the top of the list is probably Afro Cole. but right underneath him would be Sanford Kelly. Like, he says some of the most wacky, off the wall stuff, but that was probably the personification of Sanford when he just stood up, and it was obviously unscripted. And, a huge shout out to PR Balrog, by the way, who was sitting in the crowd completely cold, and his reaction to Sanford was the exact same. They had the exact same basic mentality. It's like, yeah, fuck it, let it rip, let's go. I'll fight you right now.
He didn't even talk. Yeah, he didn't even talk. He just sat down and started playing.
As soon as he pointed at PR Balrog, PR Balrog was like, "Give me my stick, give it to me right now, let's go." Like, that was what made that moment for me. Not necessarily Sanford doing that, although obviously that was awesome, but it was equal parts that, and then PR Balrog's reaction to it was just amazing. But I think that I'm also going to have to. This is tough. This is really tough because I feel like Reynald's match was probably not just the best grand final at EVO, but arguably the best grand final in EVO history. Like, that was an amazing match. But I think that it speaks volumes of how good our match of the year was, that Justin versus Chris was just a little bit better in my mind than the best grand final in EVO history. I'm going to give the Horsehead Award to Justin versus Chris. Like, the energy in the room, the energy in my house. Arturo Sanchez made money off of a video just filming the crowd's reaction. They got like thousands of views. Not a lot of money because YouTube CPN's like what, 5 cents for 1 million views, but like it was just such a unreplicatable series of events that led into that perfect match there. And we may never see another. I definitely probably won't see another Ultimate Marvel vs. 3 Capcom match. Like, I'm completely combobulated here. It was so good.
I mean, Justin used to clear rooms in Marvel.
Yeah.
Like, when he used to sit down to play grand finals at EVO, rooms would empty. Like, that's, and it's come from that to everybody in that room chanting his name. So it was just really crazy turnaround.
I mean, like, that was a tough choice for me. Reynald, everything about that match, from the Underdark story to how well he played, to seeing a guy throw his stick in frustration. It was like the Rocky IV moment where Rocky's fighting Ivan Drago. I must break you. And then Rocky kicks his ass. Like, it was a good match too. But anyway, finally, last but not least, the Horsehead Award for Player of the Year. 4 players were nominated for Player of the Year this year. There are AK from the Philippines, the young Tekken prodigy who blew up some of the best Korean Tekken players in the universe. The Tekken gods all fell before his young Filipino feet. Chris G, surprise, surprise. Reynald, probably based off the strength of his EVO performance. And then, Yipes to God, rounding out our nominees for Player of the Year. I'm going to throw this one first to Mike Ross.
Well, it's good that you asked me first, because after me, none of the other opinions matter, because mine is the only one that's correct. Player of the Year, without question, non-negotiable, non-debatable, needs to go to Christopher Gonzalez, Chris G. Dude is the best in terms of skill. People can talk about his personality or whatever, being whack or lame, but it's made him who he is, where he'll just say, the dumbest stuff on Twitter that like makes him look bad, but that's what people look forward to. He is like the complete package for 2013. He's Player of the Year.
Gibby, your choice, Player of the Year 2013.
It's a lot. I went with Reynolds initially, and I still plan to go with him. I just want to mention Tokido would have been my second choice, because everything Tokido's done this past year, every single game he's played, he gets top 8 consistently in everything.
I think the best thing that Tokido has done this year is his English commentary on his matches from the past couple weeks.
That's actually been amazing too. That's probably some of the best English commentary I've ever heard, to be honest with you.
Who is the best Akuma?
Yeah, but the reason I'm going with Reynolds once again is just because of the silly stereotype people have that if you play in America, or if you're not from a specific region in the world, you can't win in King of Fighters. Reynolds, who has only played in America, specifically Southern California, has just he showed that you don't need to be from Korea, Japan, Mexico, or anywhere that people insist KOF is only played at to win. He dominated all the top players from every region for the most part, and once again did it for America, USA.
So raggy. Sweep. Anyway, Esteban, your choice player of the year.
Well, since Mike took all of my free will away, I'm going to say that it was Chris G. He's just, tournament result wise, he's just a king. He's like the king of Marvel, just dominant in almost every tournament he's been in. And in Street Fighter, he's rapidly improving as well. Now, some people can say it's because of his character, but like a year and a half ago, nobody was playing Sakura really over here, and now he's made that character like super strong. His performance at TFC against Justin was amazing. He literally just beat Justin Wong like every step of the way, and that's why he was representing America at Capcom Cup. So I got to give it to Chris G.
Good choice. Harrison, your choice player of the year.
I want to be biased because I love Street Fighter, so I'm gonna have to nominate somebody new. I'm gonna have to go with the Evo champ because he won Evo with Gen, and I don't think people realize how hard that was. Now I really feel like he was lucky he didn't play Daigo, because I feel like out of anybody there, he would have probably gotten destroyed, and it kind of showed that after when he played Daigo.
He avoided his two demons, which was Infiltration and Daigo.
Well, I feel like Infiltration wasn't nearly as bad of a demon as Daigo was, just because he's played him before. He played him at NCR, and I believe he reset the bracket against him. So I think if they set off again, I definitely think the chance of him winning is strong. So I'm gonna have to go with Tien. And he traveled all around the world to get as good as he was, and he's only getting better, I feel like. So I'm gonna have to go with Tien.
Magus, your choice for player of the year.
The problem with Shen and Infiltration is they made the mortal mistake of challenging Daigo in a long set, and you may never be the same after that. So I fear for their career in Street Fighter.
I fear for their souls.
I fear for their very being, exactly. But Chris G's my pick. He's an absolute monster in Marvel, almost indestructible. And in Street Fighter, I feel like it doesn't matter who sits next to him. Like he's unflappable. Like Daigo could sit next to him in a tournament and he could just beat him, and I wouldn't be surprised. Like I wouldn't be surprised at all. I would just be like, "Yep, Chris G's a beast." Like that's just how good of a fighting game player he is. So yeah, that's my pick.
A little surprised that our nomination list didn't even have Daigo and Infiltration on it. If 2012 was the year of Infiltration, which he got the Horsehead last year for Player of the Year, 2013 was definitely the year of Chris G. I mean, if you want to look at there's a reason why I put Infiltration on the list for most washed up. I mean, he's obviously still picking up some cross-Tekken tournaments here or there, but the guy's not been the same since he played Daigo. Well, since he lost Laugh and played Daigo. But Chris G, on the other hand, that guy is getting stronger and stronger and stronger. A lot of people looking at Evo this year wondering if this will be the year he breaks his little curse, his Evo curse, and finally takes home a Marvel title or any title at Evo. I mean, here's a guy who has a legitimate shot at winning either of the major Capcom games at any tournament he goes to, and not just against American players. If there's Japanese players in the bracket, he still has a shot at winning Street Fighter. And I think there's a very few people in America that can say that they can compete consistently well against Japanese players. Justin Wong, Ricky Ortiz, and I would say Chris G, or there's maybe a few others, but and then you talk about Marvel, and he's I mean, there's nothing to say. He is the Michael Jordan of Marvel. There's no one even close. There's Justin and Champ putting up a good fight, but it feels like whenever Justin and Champ wins something, it's like they stole it from Chris. They scrapped out another one. They lived to fight another day. And
Exactly.
He is what it is, right? At this point, he's pretty much unstoppable. We'll see how he does at Evo this year. I definitely like him to win the whole thing for Marvel, and I would not, if I got 2-1, 3-1, I'd bet on him for Street Fighter too. I mean, who knows? But 2013's Player of the Year, the Golden Horsehead Award winner.
I'll take that bet, by the way.
Chris G. All right, so that's the Horsehead Awards for 2013. Make sure you guys subscribe to our Twitch channel here at twitch.tv/iplaywinner. And if you didn't manage to catch the earlier part of the broadcast, or if you want to see some of the archives from our previous Fray episodes or any of the episodes of our companion shows on iPlayWinner, from the show that sucks or Super Desperation Radio, you can catch the full archives for all of our shows at youtube.com/iPlayWinner. Make sure you subscribe there as well. Speaking of subscriptions, please make sure you subscribe on Daily Motion to the relaunch of the Excellent Adventures with Gutex and Mike Ross. It's dailymotion.com/Gutex and Mike Ross. Our guest tonight, twitter.com/thatMikeRossGuy. Thank you for coming on, Mike.
Hey, thank you guys for having me. Always a pleasure.
Mike the God. Pretty Mike. And then we wish him the best of luck with his project at fgcfilm.com. You can follow him at twitter.com/thebestabon, a personal friend of iPlayWinner. From Hold Back to Block, thank you for joining us, Esteban.
Thank you for having me.
Sure. One of the primary producers at iPlayWinner, you can follow him at twitter.com/HarrisonSBA. He's pretty much synonymous with iPlayWinner at this point. One of the major players that stepped up to take over after Nidel's absence. Thank you for joining us for the first time. It's crazy to me that you've never been on the show before, but thank you, Harrison, for coming on tonight.
It was fun. I'm glad I didn't have to be on a show that I had to produce.
Oh, yeah, it's kind of changed for you, isn't it? But anyway, make sure you guys catch the show that sucks on Tuesdays at 8?
10 p.m. PST.
No, I've never watched your show. It sucks. So
I know.
Oh.
You don't have to lie. It's okay.
I'm just kidding. And then finally, well, not finally, but finally, thank you for coming back. Even after you took that a little bit of abuse that led to one of my favorite moments in Fray history. You catch his show at twitch.tv/iPlayWinner, 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time on Mondays for Super Desperation Radio, where they talk about a bunch of old man games and King of Fighters 13 sometimes. Thank you for coming on, Gibby.
Oh, no problem. It's actually 6:30 p.m.
6:30 p.m.
Yeah, that was the best Fray. All right.
That was the best Fray, actually. The best.
Yeah.
And last but not least, the returning son, thank you for coming on. Magus1234.
Thanks again, Derek. Good job as usual.
Of course. Thank you very much. And make sure you guys follow all these guys on Twitter. I gave you your Twitter handles. Make sure you guys come back and check us out on Thursdays at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. We're going to be talking, in the coming weeks, we're going to be talking about the difference between American and Japanese fighting game players and the mentality that arises from American and Japanese fighting game players. It was a really interesting discussion that took place on Twitter a few days ago, where I was talking with some expatriates and some Japanese players and some American players. So we're going to explore that a little bit more in detail probably next week. And also coming up, we're going to be delving into topics like speed running and taking a greater look at the fighting game community. But make sure you guys tune in 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, Thursdays here on twitch.tv/iPlayWinner. And until that next time, I'm going to cast it off to Magus1234.
Yo, Fray!